The signal from the stars. The constant hum of the Titan observatory's atmospheric processors had become so familiar to Dr. Kira Volkov that she only noticed it when it stopped. She glanced up from her workstation as the lights flickered, then dimmed to emergency levels. Power fluctuation again? Dr. Joaquin Rivera asked from his station across the cramped monitoring room, his weathered face illuminated by holographic data streams. Third time this week, Kira replied, quickly saving her work. The observatory, perched on Saturn's largest moon, was humanity's furthest permanent research outpost and the most neglected. I'm starting to think Earth has forgotten about us. Joaquin chuckled without humor. 36 researchers studying the outer system weren't exactly a priority when the budget cuts came down. The main scanner console emitted a series of rapid beeps, an alert sequence Kira had never heard before. She pushed her chair across the metal floor, dark eyes narrowing as she studied the incoming data. "What is it?" Joaquin asked, noticing her sudden focus. "I'm not sure," Kira muttered, tucking a strand of her cropped black hair behind her ear. "Some kind of signal, interference pattern, it's coming from the rings." Saturn's rings? Probably just ice disruption from the new mining operation. Kira shook her head. "No, this is different." She enhanced the frequency pattern and the signal resolved into a clear, repeating sequence. "This is structured, deliberate." The overhead lights returned to full brightness as Director Elias Teikta entered the monitoring room, his perpetual scowl deepening as he noticed Kira's activity. "Dr. Volkov, your shift ended 20 minutes ago. The habitat pods aren't maintained at research temperatures to save on life support costs." Kira didn't look up. "Director, I've isolated an unusual signal originating from section J7 of the outer ring. It appears to be artificial in nature." Teikta sighed. "Probably equipment from the Helix Corporation mining platforms. They're all over the rings these days." "It's not Helix tech," Kira insisted. "The signal uses quantum frequency shifts that we don't have the technology to produce." "Alien?" Joaquin's voice dropped to a whisper, despite them being the only 3 people in the room. "Or something else," Kira said. "I need to take the research shuttle for a closer look." "Absolutely not," Teikta said firmly. "Observatory protocol forbids unauthorized expeditions, especially with our limited resources. File a report and we'll forward it to Earth." "Which will sit in a queue for months," Kira argued. "By then, whatever's generating this signal could be gone. Director, this could be the discovery that justifies our entire operation." Teikta hesitated, ambition briefly overcoming caution. "File your flight plan. You have 12 hours. Take Rivera with you. And if this turns out to be mining debris, it comes out of your research allocation." The research shuttle Galileo was hardly more than a reinforced cockpit with minimal life support and basic thrusters, but it was enough to navigate Saturn's rings. As they approached the coordinates of the signal, Kira felt a strange sensation, something like recognition or déjà vu. "Signal's getting stronger," Joaquin reported, his eyes fixed on the scanner. "Whatever it is, it's big, at least 200 meters in length." Through the viewport, Saturn's magnificent rings stretched in all directions, a sea of ice and rock fragments orbiting the gas giant. Ahead, barely visible among the larger chunks of ice, something reflected light differently, too smooth, too regular to be natural. "There," Kira pointed. As the shuttle drew closer, the object came into clearer view. Sleek and oblong, its dark surface was etched with intricate geometric patterns that pulsed with a faint blue luminescence. "That's definitely not a natural formation," Joaquin whispered, his voice filled with awe. "And it's not Helix tech either. Nothing we have looks like that." As they approached within a kilometer, the object's surface patterns brightened, pulses of blue light racing along the geometric lines. "It's reacting to our presence," Kira realized. She felt the strange sensation intensify, an inexplicable pull toward the object like a half-remembered dream. Without warning, a beam of pale blue light swept over their shuttle, penetrating the hull as if it were transparent. It lingered on Kira for several seconds before withdrawing. "What the hell was that?" Joquin's hands hovered over the emergency return sequence. A voice, neither male nor female, resonated directly through their communication system. Genetic verification initiated. Primary match identified. 86.7% concordance with Volkov lineage. "It knows your name," Joquin whispered, his face pale in the blue light. "Not exactly," Kira replied, her mind racing. "Volkov was my grandmother's name. I took it after my parents died." The signal scan completed, and a section of the object's hull began to transform, the material flowing like liquid metal to create what was unmistakably an entrance. Interior lights activated, revealing a corridor leading deeper into the vessel. "Welcome, designate Volkov," the voice announced. "The Guardian awaits initialization." "We should report back," Joquin said, his scientist's curiosity warring with caution. "Protocol requires." "It recognized me, Joquin," Kira interrupted, already maneuvering the shuttle closer to the entrance. "I don't think we have time for protocols." As they docked with the mysterious vessel, Kira's communication device chimed with an incoming message. Director Takeda's voice came through, tight with urgency. "Dr. Volkov, return to the observatory immediately. 3 Helix Corporation vessels have entered Saturn orbit claiming salvage rights on your discovery. Whatever you found, they want it." "How did they know?" Joquin asked. "We only just found it ourselves." "Someone's been monitoring our communications," Kira realized. "Director, we're already docked with the object. It's some kind of vessel, and it's..." responding to me specifically. "All the more reason to return now," Takeda insisted. "Helix doesn't share discoveries, Dr. Volkov, they take them." Through the shuttle viewport, Kira could see 3 sleek black ships approaching, bearing the angular red Helix insignia of the corporation. They were military-grade vessels, not research ships. "We don't have time to return," Kira decided. "We need to understand what this is before Helix gets here." She turned to Joquin. "Stay with the shuttle, be ready for emergency departure." "You can't go in there alone," Joquin protested. "I'm not sure I am alone," Kira replied, already moving toward the airlock, drawn by instinct she couldn't explain. The vessel's atmosphere registered as breathable, with a slightly higher oxygen content than Earth standard. The air carried a faint metallic scent, clean and somehow familiar. The corridor walls pulsed with circuitry that brightened as Kira passed, illuminating inscriptions that resembled ancient human languages but predated any known writing system. The passage opened into a circular chamber dominated by a command chair surrounded by dormant holographic interfaces. As Kira approached, the systems activated, projecting star charts and technical schematics throughout the room. A humanoid figure materialized before her, a holographic representation of an androgynous person in a uniform unlike any modern military design. "I am Nexus, Advanced Responsive Intelligence Matrix," the hologram announced. "Caretaker of the Guardian and administrator of the Remembrance Protocol." "What is the Guardian?" Kira asked, drawn toward the command chair as if pulled by an invisible force. "The Guardian is one of 7 vessels containing the collective knowledge of humanity's first civilization," Nexus explained. "Positioned throughout the solar system to await reactivation when the Void Eaters return." "First civilization?" Kira echoed. "What Void Eaters?" The hologram's expression remained impassive. "Full disclosure requires authorized access. Genetic designate Volkov must initiate neural synchronization to access complete archives." "You're saying humans had an advanced civilization before recorded history?" "Approximately 12,000 standard years ago," Nexus confirmed. "Human civilization achieved technological transcendence. The civilization you know represents humanity's second ascension." "If that's true, why isn't there any evidence?" Kira demanded. "Because it was deliberately erased," a voice said from behind her. Kira turned to find a man in a Helix Corporation uniform standing in the chamber entrance, flanked by armed security personnel. His salt-and-pepper hair and cold eyes marked him as Commander Victor Roth, whose reputation for acquiring valuable discoveries, by any means necessary, was well known. Fascinating technology, Roth observed, his gaze moving appreciatively around the chamber. Corporate headquarters will be most interested. This isn't corporate property, Kira objected, moving protectively toward the command chair. It's a historical discovery that belongs to all humanity. Roth smiled thinly. Dr. Volkov, I appreciate your academic perspective, but Helix Corporation has salvage rights to any technology discovered in this sector. Your own observatory's funding agreement makes that quite clear. Alert, Nexus announced, its form flickering. Unauthorized personnel detected. Security protocols activating. Tell it to stand down, Doctor, Roth ordered, his security team raising their weapons. This vessel is now Helix property. Kira's mind raced. If what Nexus said was true, this ship contained knowledge that could transform humanity's understanding of its own history, and warn of a threat returning after 12 millennia. The Guardian responds only to authorized genetic lineages, Nexus informed them. However, forced entry attempts will trigger defensive protocols that may harm the intruders and damage critical systems. Roth's expression hardened. Dr. Volkov, I'm not a patient man. Either you gain us access to these systems, or we'll find someone else from your genetic line who will. I understand you have a cousin on Mars. Kira glanced at the command chair, her decision made. What does synchronization involve? Your consciousness will temporarily merge with the Guardian systems, Nexus explained. Warning: the process permanently alters neural pathways to accommodate enhanced data processing. It cannot be reversed. Don't be a fool, Roth snapped, stepping forward. One of his security officers grabbed Kira's arm. In that moment, a section of the chamber wall liquefied, reforming into a barrier between Kira and the Helix personnel. Roth fired his sidearm at the barrier, but the energy pulse dissipated harmlessly against it. The vessel is protecting you, Nexus observed. It recognizes the threat. Kira sat in the command chair, which immediately reconfigured to her body dimensions. Do it. Filaments extended from the headrest, connecting with the neural implant at the base of Kira's skull, standard equipment for research scientists to interface with complex data systems. Information flooded her consciousness. Star charts spanning millennia, weapon systems beyond current human understanding, and memories that weren't her own. A civilization at its peak, then falling beneath a terrifying enemy. She saw Earth as it once was, with cities that reached the stratosphere and orbital shipyards constructing vessels like the Guardian. She felt the desperation of a people facing extinction. Their last hope the implementation of the Remembrance Protocol. Strategic technological regression, with 7 Guardian vessels hidden throughout the solar system, waiting for the right genetic descendants to awaken them when the threat returned. Full systems online, Nexus announced, its voice overlaid with new authority as the ship's ancient engines roared to life. The Helix security team retreated as the barrier advanced toward them, forcing them back toward the entrance. Through Kira's enhanced perception, the Guardian's information unfolded with crystal clarity. The Void Eaters were cosmic entities that consumed worlds, transforming matter into extensions of themselves. They harvested advanced civilizations, drawn to technological energy signatures like moths to flame. Humanity's first civilization had faced them and chosen regression over extinction, deliberately erasing their technology and most of their history. Commander Roth, Kira called, her voice strangely doubled as the neural synchronization deepened. The Void Eaters have entered the outer solar system. We have less than 2 weeks before they reach Earth. I suggest you focus on evacuation rather than acquisition. External view screens activated, showing the Helix vessels surrounding the Guardian, weapons locked on. You have 60 seconds to power down and surrender, Roth's voice came through the communication system. Or we will open fire. Kira felt the Guardian's defense systems like extensions of her own body. The knowledge of how to activate them flowed through her altered neural pathways. We need to warn Earth, she said to Nexus, the ship's tactical systems highlighting the most efficient return trajectory. They'll never believe us, Nexus replied, its holographic form now seeming more substantial. Not without proof. Then we'll bring them proof, Kira resolved, her consciousness now intertwined with the Guardian's vast database. As the Helix vessels opened fire, shields of shimmering energy enveloped the Guardian. Kira felt each impact like a distant pressure against her own skin. The Guardian's engines powered to full capacity, accelerating away from Saturn's rings with impossible speed. The Second Awakening had begun. Humanity would remember what it had chosen to forget or perish in ignorance: the Awakening. The journey to Earth took just 18 hours, a fraction of the time a conventional vessel would require. As the Guardian approached Earth orbit, Kira observed her home planet through new eyes. The neural synchronization had progressed, giving her access to memories of Earth as it once was. Gleaming cities that dwarfed modern metropolises, orbital elevators stretching into space, and a civilization that had conquered the solar system before deliberately regressing to primitive technology. "You should rest," Nexus advised, its holographic form materializing beside the command chair where Kira remained connected to the vessel's systems. "Your physiology is still adapting to the neural changes." "There's no time," Kira replied, though fatigue weighed heavily on her. The Guardian's sensors had detected the first wave of Void Eaters passing Neptune's orbit. "We need to convince Earth's leadership before it's too late." Joquin approached cautiously, having kept his distance since the synchronization. "Kira, you've been in that chair for almost 20 hours. You need to disconnect, at least temporarily." "I can't," she admitted. "The synchronization is deeper than expected." Nexus confirmed this with a solemn nod. The designate's neural structure is evolving to accommodate the Guardian's knowledge base. Temporary disconnection would cause significant neural shock. Joquin's expression revealed his concern. "You're changing, Kira, your eyes." He held up a reflective panel. Kira saw what alarmed him. Her dark brown eyes now contained flecks of luminescent blue, the same hue as the Guardian's interface systems. "A side effect of the synchronization," she explained, though she hadn't known this until the words left her mouth. The Guardian's knowledge continued to surface in her consciousness, revealing itself as needed. "Approaching Earth defense perimeter," Nexus announced. The viewscreen displayed 12 United Earth Defense Force vessels moving to intercept, surrounding them in a standard containment formation. Their weapons, railguns and fusion torpedoes, seemed primitive compared to the Guardian's capabilities, but Kira knew they could still cause damage. "Unidentified vessel," came the transmission from the UEDF flagship Dauntless. "You have entered Earth-restricted space without clearance. Power down and prepare for boarding." Kira opened a channel, her voice steady despite the vast information still cascading through her consciousness. "This is Dr. Kira Volkov of the Titan Observatory. I've discovered an ancient human spacecraft with critical information about an imminent threat to Earth." A pause, then. "Dr. Volkov, observatory records indicate you're assigned to Saturn's moon. This vessel does not match any registered human craft. You are ordered to surrender immediately." Before Kira could respond, a private channel opened. A stern-faced woman with close-cropped gray hair and admiral's insignia appeared on the viewscreen. "Dr. Volkov, I'm Admiral Nyota Imara, UEDF Central Command. Helix Corporation has filed theft charges against you, and my security team is concerned about the weapon signatures we're detecting from your vessel." "Admiral," Kira replied, "this ship predates known human history. It contains evidence of an advanced civilization that existed 12,000 years ago. The same threat that nearly destroyed them is returning, and we have less than 2 weeks to prepare." Admiral Imara's expression remained carefully neutral. "Dock at UEDF Station Artemis. We'll discuss your discoveries there." 6 hours later, Kira sat in a sterile interrogation room aboard Station Artemis. Neural dampeners had been placed around her head, partially severing her connection to the Guardian. The separation left her disoriented and nauseous, her mind searching for the vast knowledge she had briefly commanded. Across the table, Admiral Imara studied data from Kira's neural scans, while 2 security officers stood guard. "Your brain activity shows unprecedented patterns," Imara noted. Medical says your neural architecture has been fundamentally altered by unknown technology. The Guardian integrated with my systems, Kira explained, struggling to organize her thoughts without the vessel's assistance. The information is genuine, Admiral. The Void Eaters are real and they're approaching our solar system. Dr. Volkov, a new voice said from the doorway. I'd like to speak with the patient alone, Admiral. The man who entered wore the white coat of UEDF Medical Division. His dark skin contrasted with prematurely white hair, and intelligent eyes studied Kira with scientific curiosity. Dr. Ezra Akaffer, he introduced himself after the Admiral and guards reluctantly withdrew. I specialize in xenoarchaeology and evolutionary neural adaptation. You believe me? Kira asked, surprised. Let's say I'm open to possibilities others dismiss, Dr. Akaffer replied, deactivating the neural dampeners with a swift motion. Now, quickly, while we have privacy, tell me everything. As the dampening field diminished, Kira's connection to the Guardian partially restored itself. Information flowed more freely, and she explained about humanity's first civilization, the Void Eaters, and the Remembrance Protocol that had hidden 7 Guardian vessels throughout the solar system. This matches patterns I've discovered in ancient ruins worldwide, Dr. Akaffer said, excitement building in his voice. Symbols that shouldn't exist in 10,000-year-old sites. Technologies buried in strata too deep for their sophistication. I've theorized a missing chapter in human development, but without proof. I have proof, Kira insisted. The Guardian contains the complete history and the genetic markers to activate the other 6 vessels. Dr. Akaffer hesitated. The neural changes you're experiencing, they're permanent, aren't they? Kira nodded. The price of remembrance. I need to show you something, he said, producing a small holographic projector. It displayed images of excavation sites around Earth, ancient ruins with symbols identical to those adorning the Guardian's hull. These were classified by UEDF Special Projects Division, Dr. Akaffer explained. All discovered in the past 50 years, all showing technology that shouldn't exist at their carbon-dated age. Evidence of the first civilization, Kira whispered. More specifically, evidence of their defensive measures against the Void Eaters, Dr. Akaffer corrected, showing close-ups of crystalline structures embedded in the ruins. These match your description of the entity's physical manifestation. The door slid open, and Admiral Amira returned, her expression thunderous. Dr. Akaffer, you've exceeded your authorization. The neural dampeners need to be removed permanently, Dr. Akaffer interrupted. Admiral, Dr. Volkov's claims align with the classified ancestral technology discoveries. I believe she's telling the truth. Admiral Amara's stern facade cracked slightly. You understand what you're suggesting, that everything we know about human history is incomplete. Deliberately incomplete, Kira corrected. The Remembrance Protocol required humanity to forget its advanced past to avoid detection by the Void Eaters. But they've found us again. Our technological signature has grown too bright to ignore. The station's alert system suddenly blared. A communication officer's voice came over the intercom. Admiral, we're detecting 3 Helix Corporation warships approaching. They're demanding we surrender Dr. Volkov and the unidentified vessel. They're persistent, Admiral Amara muttered. They want the Guardian's technology, Kira explained. But they don't understand what they're dealing with. The vessel responds only to specific genetic markers, descendants of its original crew. The station shuddered as something impacted its outer shields. They're firing on a UEDF station? Amara said in disbelief, already moving toward the command center. That's an act of war. In the chaos that followed, Dr. Akaffer helped Kira to her feet. We need to get you back to your vessel. If what you're saying is true, it's our best defense. As they navigated through the station's corridors, emergency lighting bathed everything in red. Personnel rushed to battle stations while automated defense systems came online. Why would Helix risk attacking a military installation? Kira wondered aloud. Because what you've discovered is worth more than the consequences, Dr. Ockafer replied grimly. Imagine controlling technology 12,000 years advanced of our own. They reached the docking bay where the Guardian was held under guard. The UEDF security team lay unconscious, and Commander Roth stood waiting with 4 Helix operatives. Dr. Volkov, Roth greeted her with cold courtesy. You've led us on quite a chase. The vessel won't respond to you, Kira warned. You're wasting time we don't have. Perhaps, Roth acknowledged, but our scientists believe a partial neural transfer from you to one of our operatives might suffice. Painful for you, certainly, but potentially effective. Dr. Ockafer stepped protectively in front of Kira. This woman is under UEDF protection. One of Roth's operatives raised a weapon, but before she could fire, the Guardian's outer hull liquefied, extending a tendril of metallic material through the docking bay. It knocked the Helix personnel aside with devastating precision, creating a path for Kira. Go, Dr. Ockafer urged. I'll inform the Admiral. Kira ran toward the Guardian, the vessel's entrance reconfiguring to admit her. As she reached the command chair, the neural connection fully re-established itself, sending a surge of information through her altered pathways. The sensation was no longer foreign but welcoming, like returning home. The Void Eaters have passed the orbit of Mars, Nexus reported. Earth's detection systems are inadequate to identify them at this range. We need to activate the other Guardians, Kira decided. Where are they? A star map materialized, highlighting 6 locations throughout the solar system. Buried beneath the lunar surface, hidden in Venus's cloud layers, dormant in Mercury's polar crater, concealed in Jupiter's great red spot, drifting in the Kuiper belt, and the final one buried deep beneath Earth's Antarctic ice. The Remembrance Protocol requires simultaneous activation, Nexus explained. All 7 Guardians must awaken to form the defensive network. How we can't reach them all in time? You can signal them, Nexus said. The neural synchronization allows you to transmit the activation sequence, but it will require deeper integration. Kira understood the implication. The changes to her neural structure would become more pronounced, potentially altering her humanity. But with the Void Eaters approaching and Earth defenseless, what choice did she have? Do it, she commanded. The command chair reconfigured additional neural filaments, extending to connect with Kira's spine and temples. Pain lanced through her body as the synchronization deepened, her consciousness expanding beyond the Guardian systems to reach toward the dormant vessels scattered throughout the solar system. She felt them respond, first hesitantly, then with increasing strength. One by one, the Guardians awakened: Luna, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Kuiper, Antarctica. Each carried a fragment of humanity's forgotten knowledge, each designed to fulfill a specific role in the coming defense. As the 7 Guardians established their network, information cascaded between them, rebuilding the ancient defensive system that had once protected the solar system. Kira stood at the center of this information storm, her mind the conduit through which humanity's forgotten past flowed back into the present. On the view screen, she watched as the Antarctic Guardian erupted from beneath 3 kilometers of ice, a massive vessel that dwarfed the largest modern warships. In orbit, Admiral Imara's shocked face appeared on the communication channel. Dr. Volkov, what have you done? We're detecting massive energy signatures worldwide and throughout the system. I've activated the Remembrance Protocol, Kira explained, her voice resonating with newfound authority. Humanity's first defense is awakening. The station's sensors suddenly detected what the Guardian had been tracking for hours: dark, crystalline formations approaching Earth, absorbing light and energy as they passed. The Void Eaters had arrived. All UEDF vessels, this is Admiral Imara, the commander ordered, her military training overcoming her shock. Form defensive positions around the unknown contacts. Weapons hot but hold fire until my command. Conventional weapons will be ineffective, Kira warned. The Guardians are humanity's only defense. Allow them to position themselves. To her surprise, Admiral Imara nodded. All vessels stand down, let these Guardians through. The 7 vessels moved into formation, establishing a geometric pattern around Earth that Kira recognized from the ancient memories, a defense grid designed to counter the Void Eater's dimensional phasing abilities. From the lunar surface, an enormous beam of coherent energy erupted, connecting with the Guardian vessels to form a shimmering barrier just as the first Void Eater entities reached Earth orbit. They resembled crystalline shadows, their forms constantly shifting as they absorbed energy and matter into their structure. The defense grid is at 30% capacity, Nexus reported. Full power requires complete neural integration. Kira understood what this meant. To save humanity, she would need to sacrifice what remained of her original self, becoming permanently merged with the Guardian network. "Is there no other way?" she asked. "No, designate Volkov," Nexus replied with what almost sounded like regret. "The system was designed with this safeguard to prevent misuse. Complete activation requires willing sacrifice." On the view screens, Kira could see the Void Eaters beginning to breach the partial barrier, dark crystalline structures extending toward Earth's atmosphere. Millions would die within hours if the entities reached the surface. Dr. Ockhaffer's voice came through the communication system. "Kira, our sensors show what's happening. Is there anything we can do?" "Ensure humanity remembers this time," Kira replied, making her decision. "No more forgetting, no more starting over." "We'll remember," Admiral Amara promised, understanding in her voice. "Your name will be the first in that history." Kira settled deeper into the command chair as the final neural connections activated. Her consciousness expanded exponentially, merging fully with the Guardian system and connecting with the other 6 vessels. Her physical form remained, but her mind transcended its biological limitations, becoming part of the ancient defense network. Through the network, she directed the Guardians to full power. The defense grid solidified, its energy barrier strengthening as it pushed back against the Void Eater vanguard. The crystalline entities recoiled from the barrier, their absorption abilities neutralized by frequencies calibrated specifically to their vulnerabilities. As Earth's conventional forces watched in awe, the Guardian vessels coordinated their attack, fracturing the largest Void Eater entities into smaller fragments that could be contained and neutralized. The ancient defense protocols, designed by humanity's first civilization, performed exactly as intended. Hours later, when the initial wave had been repelled, Admiral Amara and Dr. Ockhaffer were permitted to board the Guardian.